Hi guys, here I wanted to talk about Melinda Gates, wife of Bill Gates and co-founder of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Wikipedia doesn't say much about her. Her first job was tutoring in math and computer programming. Then she was marketing manager at Microsoft, where she met Bill. She worked on Expedia and later on Microsoft Bob, which was a commercial failure. In 1996, she left Microsoft and raised her family. She dedicated herself as well to philanthropic work through the controversial Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She was ranked number 3 in Forbes for the 100 most powerful women. I'm sure she's an amazing and interesting woman. Let's have a look at her body language and non-verbal communication. This little clip shows Bill and Melinda Gates on The Late Show.
We do believe that to whom much is given, much is expected. And that means you need to have...
That was a very condescending gesture. Let's slow it down.
Given, much is expected. And that means you need to have...
Very arrogant. While the cheers from the audience were meant to be supportive, she interpreted this as a disruption of her little speech and didn't approve.
But it is that catalytic wedge where we can try things, we can do innovations that you wouldn't want your government to do with tax dollars, but then it has to be government that's...
So that's very typical for Melinda. She sits up very stiff and straight. The head is tilted back, the chin is up. She very much lives in her mind. She's certainly not a person who follows her gut feeling or her heart. It's all up there somewhere on a cloud. The head tilt back movement is a superior gesture, primeval high stand display. It shows dominance and superiority. That brings me to a nice work by Charles Darwin on the expression of the emotions of man and animals. So while a lot of people know Paul Ekman's work on the micro-expressions, these universal, fleeting expressions of happiness, fear, contempt, disgust, surprise, and anger, it was actually Charles Darwin in his third book, which is considered a forgotten masterpiece, where he traces the human behavior and expressions to our mammalian ancestors as further evidence that we are related by evolution. So we see the one-sided mouth corner going up even in apes, and this shows superiority and contempt. And it can even be turned into a sneer or snarl, and the chin goes up and one of the mouth corners go up. It's a signature of extreme superiority and aggression.
Women in poor countries will tell you they're not welcomed at the bank, they don't have the money to get on the bus to go there. If they do, they might get robbed. But when she can save $1 a day, $2 a day on her cell phone, she spends it on behalf of her family, on their health and the education of the kids. And she also sees herself differently. She starts to see herself as a working woman. And she'll tell you, her husband sees her differently when she has assets. She's in India.
It's very condescending calling $1 a day an asset, even in these countries. Very hypocritical, coming from a billionaire's wife. Let's go to the next interview with Whoopi Goldberg.
Not only are you giving most of your $100 billion fortune to charity, you also created the Giving Pledge with Warren Buffett to get billionaires to donate at least half their net worth. How is it working out?
Well, it was a great idea.
It was a very fake smile. It reminded me of Steve Martin. He does these very fake smiles as part of his comedian act.
Working out.
Well, you're lucky enough to grow up in the United States.
Funny. I guess she doesn't mean all the low-income people in the ghettos.
You ought to give at least half of your fortune back. If you have $1 billion, you can afford to give half back. And so
Again, you see how she stretches out, puts her head into the lofty air, and is very much in her mind, and very superior, delicate, entitled.
We now have 190 people who've taken the pledge, 22 different countries, to say that they will, in their lifetime or...
And she does this also a lot. She closes her eyes. She's very much retreating, isolating herself in her superiority and uniqueness.
Or in their will, give away half their wealth back to society.
Wow.
Wow.
Calling yourself a feminist. So what issue did you have with the word, and what does it mean to you now?
Well, first of all, I believe we're allowed to be anything we want to be in society. A mother, a working mom, a mom who does work, and I am absolutely a feminist.
Well, on that,
Contempt.
the work in the home. Does Bill have to do any dishes,
Does he
any
do the laundry?
Against the Steve Martin fake smile. Excellent.
Name what our truth is and then ask for what we need.
Right, very, very true.
Very, very true. No critical questions. Of course, these things are easy to say for a billionaire's wife. She has no clue about the struggles a normal family goes through.
So we are experiencing a measles outbreak. In 22 states because parents are choosing not to vaccinate their children.
Contempt towards the parents who don't vaccinate.
For whatever reason they may have. And much of your foundation work has been getting vaccines to developing countries.
I mean, vaccinating against measles might be a good idea, but in the olden days they had measles parties, so every kid gets the measles at the same time. And it also worked most of the time.
I believe that vaccines are fundamental to life.
Funny. Life on Earth is almost 4 billion years old. It can't be very fundamental life. That's how we have an adaptive immune system.
So the women I meet in all over the world and
Again, very much in her headspace. You saw also the head shake. Very superior, very entitled.
So the women I meet in all over the world,
You know, they have those,
Everyone is nodding, everyone is agreeing. No critical question. What garbage.
they have those,
Super fake smile. She doesn't like Whoopi Goldberg.
What do you say?
I have met so many women around the world in so many different places.
What's wrong with her face? Super massive sign of contempt. Her whole face folds in. Her facelift even interferes with her contempt facial expression.
You've been such a good audience. You're just going to take all of it.
Super fake smile. In summary, Melinda Gates in her Eiffel Tower, in her air castle, in her head, very much in her mind, feeling superior, arrogant, and entitled. She flashes signs of contempt, shows the chin thrust, which is a sign of arrogance, superiority, and even aggression, and once in a while a fake smile, which is slightly inhibited by her facelift. Contempt, arrogance, fake smile. These are sort of attractors of her behavior, and it cycles through them again and again and again. So there's not really anything interesting. In fact, she reminds me of something.
The person she admires most is her mama.
She hopes to one day become a princess in a big castle.
Get out! Yes, I am beautiful. And you told me, you said I was beautiful, and I'm always beautiful. Couldn't give two about your damn birth certificate. Yeah, get her out of my face. Dad, I'm right here, bitch. Bring it. Bring it. You are trash. You do that to a little girl. I'm trash. Trash.
No class whatsoever. How could you do that to a little girl?
You're fisting on stage. You've got to pull yourself together, or we're not going on stage. It's all about her and for her.
Anything. But you're about to know.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, Mel. You need to back off.
No, you guys need to back off. Let's stop it. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Oh, really? Last time I saw you were in charge of nothing, bitch.
You do not say that about people. What is wrong with you? Say whatever he wants to say.